Welcome, everyone. So today we're going deep, really deep, like right under our noses deep. You guys sent in some really fascinating stuff, and we're so excited to dive into it. Think of it like this. We're taking those everyday things, the ones we barely even notice, and we're going to peel back the layers and uncover their hidden stories.
That's right. You know those objects that just blend into the background of our lives? Well, we got some excerpts from this book, The Secret Lives of Everyday Objects, and let me tell you, it has been an eye-opener. What we're going to do in this deep dive is shine a spotlight on these objects. We're going to unearth those hidden histories, the ingenious innovations, and the cultural significance that's often hiding in plain sight.
Absolutely. We're aiming to give you a fresh perspective, a new way of looking at the world around you, and the stuff you use every single day.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump right in. Let's start with something so simple, it's almost invisible. The paperclip. I mean, it's just a little piece of bent wire. It holds papers together, right? What could be so surprising about that?
Right. I mean, on the surface, yeah, it seems pretty straightforward. Just a little bit of bent metal. But this design, which, we can trace back to the 1890s, well, it's got a past that's way more dramatic than you might think. The Secret Lives dives into this.
Dramatic is an understatement. And this is where it gets really interesting. Apparently, during World War II, Norwegians started wearing paper clips as like a solid protest against the Nazi occupation.
It's incredible, isn't it? Think about it. This tiny everyday object transformed into this powerful symbol. It wasn't a violent uprising or anything. It was a quiet, widespread act of defiance. They were wearing these paper clips as this visual representation of their unity, their resilience in the face of oppression. You can imagine the impact of seeing that simple shape repeated over and over like this unspoken message.
It really makes you think about the power that even the most ordinary objects can have, right? Okay, and here's another thing. Get this. The gem clip design, the one we all picture when we think of a paperclip, the one William Middlebrook designed. Well, it's basically stayed the same for over a century.
Over a century. It's a testament to that design, how elegant and effective it is, right? Sometimes the simplest solutions are not only the most effective, but also the most enduring. It really makes you think.
It does. Okay, let's shift gears a bit. We talked about something that holds things together physically. Now, how about something that helps us organize our thoughts? The Post-it note.
Oh, the Post-it note.
Yeah, it's another one of those things that feels like it's always been there. But its beginnings, they were actually pretty accidental. A stroke of luck, as The Secret Lives puts it.
It really was. So back in 1968, there was this scientist at 3M, Spencer Silver, and he was trying to create, a super strong adhesive. But what he ended up with was actually the opposite. He made this adhesive that was surprisingly weak. It was low tack, meaning it could be repositioned, but it didn't seem very useful at the time.
And then enter another 3M scientist, Art Fry. He was having this issue with his choir book. He was using these little scraps of paper to mark the hymns, but they kept falling out. And that's when a light bulb went off.
You got it. He needed a bookmark that would stay put but wouldn't damage the pages when he removed it. And that's when Silver's failed adhesive suddenly became the perfect solution. It's not just the accident itself that's so interesting, but how this unintended result led to the creation of this global communication tool. It really makes you think about how sometimes innovation comes from the most unexpected places.
It really does.
Yeah.
And get this, the first Post-it notes were that canary yellow color, simply because that was the color of the scrap paper they had lying around in the lab next door.
Isn't that funny?
It's amazing how sometimes even something as iconic as the color of a product comes down to pure chance. It's those little details that make these stories so fun.
It really is.
Okay, let's move on to another essential tool, the pencil. I mean, this thing has been instrumental in, capturing and sharing ideas for centuries, right?
Oh, absolutely. The pencil, an iconic object if there ever was one. The Secret Lives takes us back to the 16th century. That's when graphite was first discovered in England. And with that discovery, people suddenly had this relatively clean and efficient way to write and draw. It was a huge leap forward from the methods they were using before.
And you think about it, the pencil's been used by everyone, from students taking notes to, well, as the book mentions, really influential figures. It talks about Thoreau. Apparently, he actually made his own pencils before he went to Walden.
It's interesting, right?
It makes you consider the connection between, these simple tools and the really big ideas they help us express.
And if you zoom out a bit, the pencil's long history really highlights our human need to record our thoughts, to express ourselves, to visualize things. And it wasn't just writers and artists who relied on it. Even NASA, they developed special pencils for space because regular pens wouldn't work in zero gravity.
Wow.
They had to adapt this classic tool for, the most extreme conditions imaginable. It's really remarkable.
That's amazing. And, it's great to see that even something as basic as the pencil is being made with, like sustainability in mind. These days, you see more and more pencils made with sustainable cedar, and they're sourcing the graphite more responsibly. It's a good reminder that even well-established objects can evolve and become more eco-friendly.
Couldn't agree more. Okay, let's switch gears again. We've talked about tools we hold, things we write with. Now, let's talk about something we hold our beverages in. The coffee mug. For a lot of people, it's an essential part of their morning routine.
Oh, my coffee mug is my best friend in the morning. But beyond holding my caffeine, does the humble mug have more to tell us? The Secret Lives hinted at some pretty interesting design secrets.
It did. And what's fascinating here is the science behind how we experience taste. So apparently the shape of your mug can actually influence how you perceive the taste of your coffee. For example, if you have a wider mug, it tends to enhance the aroma. And our sense of smell is super connected to taste, so that subtle change in aroma can actually change how we experience the flavor.
Wow, I had no idea. My choice of mug in the morning is way more important than I thought.
It really is. And it's not just about function either. The book also talks about the historical and cultural weight that mugs have carried throughout history.
Right. Like, I can imagine those really ornate mugs in museums, the ones that were like status symbols, right?
Exactly. Think about those ancient mugs, often made of really precious materials, serving as symbols of wealth and status, or those elaborate goblets and tankards they used in ceremonies and stuff. And then fast forward to today, we still have those fancy mugs, but we also have like #OneDad mugs and things like that. It's like this democratization of the mug. It's become this canvas for personal expression and connection.
I love that. From a morning staple to something we carry everywhere we go. The smartphone. Can you even imagine life without them now? And their evolution? It's been crazy fast.
It really has. The Secret Lives traces that journey from that first Motorola phone back in 1973, which weighed almost 2 pounds, to these sleek, super powerful AI devices we have today. It's mind-boggling how far technology has come in such a short time.
I know. It makes you dizzy to think about the amount of computing power we hold in our hands.
Yeah.
But the book also brings up some important points about, the less glamorous side of this technology.
Absolutely. We have to be mindful of the impact of these devices, the e-waste problem, the environmental cost of all those discarded phones, the ethical concerns surrounding the mining of the materials that are made from. These are all things we have to address as consumers.
It's a really important point, and this statistic really blew my mind. Apparently, the average person taps their phone like over 2,600 times every day. It makes you realize just how attached we are to these things.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It is. Okay, let's step away from the digital world for a bit. Let's talk about something very physical. The chair. It seems like such a simple thing, a place to sit. But The Secret Lives suggests it's more than that.
It definitely is. It mentions how in ancient Egypt, the chair was a symbol of power. Pharaohs sat on these elaborate thrones. It's quite a contrast to, the average office chair.
We're kidding.
And what's really interesting is how the design and the function of the chair have reflected changes in society. We went from those thrones, these symbols of authority, to modern ergonomic chairs designed for comfort and productivity. And then you have the rise of affordable furniture from places like IKEA, making comfortable seating accessible to so many people.
Right, and it's also become a cultural symbol, hasn't it? The book contrasts the CEO's chair in a boardroom with a park bench. They both provide a place to sit, but they say very different things about status and community.
They really do. The chair and all its different forms reflects our social hierarchies, how we think about work and leisure, even our ideas about public spaces. Okay, ready for another one?
I am.
Let's talk about something that we use to interact with something as basic as food. Let's talk about the spoon.
The spoon. It seems like it's been around forever.
You're not wrong. The Secret Lives points out that spoons have been around since the Paleolithic era. Can you imagine trying to eat without a spoon? It's such a fundamental tool, and it's been with us for, forever.
I know. I can't imagine trying to eat soup without one.
Exactly. And even something as basic as the spoon has this history tied to social status. Back in medieval times, The kind of spoon you had could actually show your social ranking.
Really?
Yep. The materials it was made from, how decorated it was, those things could indicate wealth and status. And then you compare that to something like the spork we have today. It's kind of a funny example of cultural fusion, right? Combining the functions of a spoon and a fork into one utensil.
It's so practical.
It is. It's just a small example of how even our most basic tools can reflect these broader cultural trends. Shall we move on?
Let's do it. Let's shed some light on, well, the light bulb. Another one of those inventions we totally take for granted.
For sure. And The Secret Lives actually clarifies something about Thomas Edison. You know, we often give him all the credit for inventing the light bulb.
Right. It's like the first thing you learn in school.
Right. But the book says it's more accurate to say that he was really important in making it commercially successful. He popularized it and made it practical for everyone to use. He wasn't necessarily the first to come up with the idea of electric light, but his genius was in making it accessible to the masses.
So his contribution was more about making it something that people could actually use in their everyday lives.
Exactly. It's an important distinction. And it's encouraging to see how the light bulb has continued to evolve in a more eco-friendly direction with the rise of LED technology.
Definitely. It's like a perfect example of innovation meeting sustainability. Those LEDs are having a huge positive impact on how much energy we use globally.
I completely agree. Okay, ready for our last object.
Hit me.
Okay, let's unlock the secrets of something we use practically every day but rarely think about.
Keys.
Keys. They're not just about opening doors, are they? Not at all. They give us access literally to spaces and also metaphorically, to opportunities, knowledge, things like that. The Secret Lives talks about this amazing discovery. A 4,000-year-old wooden key from Egypt.
4,000 years old.
Can you believe it? It's a real, tangible connection to the ingenuity of these ancient civilizations.
It really puts things in perspective.
Yeah.
And beyond just their practical use, keys have become part of our language, our storytelling, our myths.
You're right. We talk about the keys to success, or those mysterious skeleton keys that can unlock anything.
Like a magic key that can open any door.
Exactly. It's really interesting how this purely functional object has taken on all this symbolic meaning.
I love that. So taking this deep dive into these everyday objects, exploring the secret lives of everyday objects, it really shows us that the world around us is so much richer and more interesting than we often realize.
It's like uncovering this hidden tapestry woven from human ingenuity, culture, history. It's all there.
It is. So next time you're, sipping your coffee or writing something down or even just turning on a light, maybe take a second to appreciate the long, often surprising journey behind these simple actions.
And to wrap things up, here's something to think about. How many other seemingly insignificant objects in your life might be hiding these incredible stories?
Great question.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe the ordinary world around us is actually quite extraordinary. We just need to take a closer look.
That's a great point to end on.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.